I picked up this backpack at a closeout. I didn't really mind the color, but I thought it would make an interesting project to see how I could add color to this backpack. I'm thinking of something like a two-tone look, but I'll have to see how that turns out next. Because I've never colored fabric in any way other than writing my son's name on his school apron, I'm going to test what this is like in an inconspicuous place. The backside of the backpack seemed like the best place to do this. The inward-facing side of the tab that the straps connect to should be well hidden if this test doesn't turn out well. I want to test how easy it is to color with a Sharpie, how evenly the ink goes on, how much ink bleed there will be, and also how much ink, if any, will soak through to the other side of the fabric. Other than my sloppy coloring getting some of the ink onto parts of the backpack it wasn't supposed to, the results of this test turned out great. I want to start with something easy, so I decided to do the front pocket. I wasn't sure how much ink would soak into the pocket, so I decided to put a plastic bag inside of it so the ink wouldn't soak through to the inner compartments. It's not that bad if the ink soaked through this pocket, but it is a good time to find out how much ink soaks through. The knowledge could be useful later. The front pocket was an easy choice to start with because it's right out in front of the backpack with no straps, flaps, or corners to work around. Even the edges where it's sewn to the backpack are folded over rather than two edges sewn together. I felt the folded over edge would help prevent the ink from bleeding past the edge onto other sections of the backpack. So I've completed coloring all of the front pocket as well as the tab for the strap that I had tested on earlier. I'm impressed how evenly the Sharpie colors the fabric. I was expecting there to be visible streaks on the larger areas like the front pocket, but that did not happen. At this point in the coloring process, I think the results so far look pretty good, but I'll probably color one or two more sections of the backpack just to get a more even spread of the different colors all around. The flap of the large pocket looked like another easy section to color. While coloring, I stay safely away from the edges by about 1/2 inch. This allows me to color a lot quicker since I don't have to worry whether the large amount of ink being used will bleed past the edges. It makes working on the entire section a lot quicker. Here's an example of the bleeding and stray marks that occur when coloring at this faster pace. It's something I don't mind because I'll be making more passes to fill in the uncolored edges. On the side with the folded over edge, I made 2 more passes to color in the edge. On the next pass, I filled in most of the uncolored edge except the part that folds over to create the hem right next to the zipper. On the last pass, which I didn't record, I pinched the edge to make the folded over edge stick up and away from other fabric, then colored it in. By pinching it, I can even color some of the edge that will fold back down onto the zipper when I release it from being pinched. You may have to blow on the ink to dry the surface so it doesn't smear onto the zipper when releasing the pinch. I'm getting ready to color the other edge of the large pocket. This edge is different from the one I just colored because it's sewn together edge to edge. This makes it easier for the ink to accidentally smear or bleed onto the other edge it's sewn to. In my attempt to prevent this, I'm stuffing the backpack with anything soft that will fill the inside completely when I zip it up. What I want to do is have the backpack stuffed enough so that the edges that are sewn together are lightly pulled apart enough to make it easier to color right up to the stitching. I started out coloring close to but not right up to the edge using the large Sharpie. As I colored though, I realized I may need a finer tipped Sharpie to get right up to this edge. Using the finer tipped Sharpie did help a lot and made coloring the edge a whole lot easier. I still had to be cautious of coloring too much in one spot, otherwise it could still bleed past the sewn edge, but I got used to doing light strokes multiple times. Kinda like how you spray paint in light coats rather than one heavy coat. Now that the ink has had some time to dry, I can sort of see streaking in the coloring, but it is hard to see from maybe 5 feet away. All the coloring near the edges turned out great. I think what worked for me on coloring the edges is taking my time. For me, the coloring has to be deliberate, and for my untrained art skills, the only way to do that is to work very slow. So here's the results of my backpack with its two-tone color scheme. I had thought about either another color or some other fabric to cover the lower side panel that wraps around the bottom, but I couldn't come up with any ideas I liked. I didn't mind the old color scheme, but I do like this one better. Leave your questions and comments in the comment section below. That's all I have for now, and I'll catch you in the next video.